Is advertising still a viable, good place for creative talent?
I hope so. I definitely hope so, but it's the only reason I'm in this business. I think the day that this business stops being a talent magnet will be the day that this business will disappear. I think it's a business that has just evolved, and the creative minds have to navigate in a different way, but it's pure talent. That's basically what we need.
What's your counter argument to the notion that advertising agencies have become merely vendors?
It is true that some agencies are becoming that. And I would say, and probably sounds a bit arrogant, but some of them are, it's their own fault. Because that's the way they address the clients, that's the way they approach the clients, and that's the way they work with them. I think in order to step out of that box.
So how do you define brand in a digital world?
I think brand is something that lives with you in these days. Brand is not something that impacts you. Brand is something you have an intimate relationship with. That becomes a brand.
How do marketers then sort of respond? How must they sort of respond to that new this new era of consumer control over brands?
Well, the input comes when a brand or a product is relevant to consumer, and I know the use of relevance is constantly out there, but at the end of the day comes human relevance. It's an emotional relevance to someone, and that input will be very organic, and people will treat you like a friend, or will treat you something that they really need and trust and respect. I think respect is the biggest word right now. I think the day brands lose respect, they have no chance to be relevant.
Who would you give as examples of brands that have gained that respect?
Well, there's always the obvious one, which is Apple, but I mean there are many others. I think you go to Netflix, to Zipcars, and you see how people really touch the very common sense and something that's very relevant in their lives, talking with honesty, with clarity, and handing over the brand to them. When that happens, you have a very relevant brand.
One of the things that interests me is just sort of how the talent imperative changes and shifts within an organization. What's your approach?
You basically have to create a network of collaborators. And you have to have the essence of the agency, that's the thinkers, the creatives, and the business people that understand the client, and then you create a network where you pepper your experience every time you need it. I think the refreshment of your talent source is going to be the future of this business. So I think the larger the agency, the more people you can hire, but the smaller it is, the more it becomes a networking approach. And since we're living in an era of collaboration, you have to be a way that you can have these people interacting in your process instead of you impacting their talent. So you have to have a very open-minded and I would say sensitive to collaboration process.
I know crowdsourcing, for example, was quite a concept year and a half back.
Right.
How has that evolved, and is this sort of in line with what you're talking about?
It comes down again to become an agency that is a talent magnet, where people want to come to work with you. It's a people business, no matter what you do. You can put whatever process and frame around it, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to attract the right talent in the right moment for the right project.
What right now do you think marketers need to be prioritizing and paying attention to as they seek to build their brands globally?
I think what people have to keep in mind is they have to have a reason why they exist. And more than saying how and what they do, they should say why they exist. And I think a mission will travel much easier around the globe than a corporate identity or a TV spot that worked well in France and you have to translate it in Japan.
So how will we remember 2012 as we move into that year? Sort of what will be the three defining trends in marketing and advertising that you see?
I think 2012 is over already. I think we have to think about 2013 already. I don't think the inertia of what we have done in 2011 is already taking over 2012. We're probably in spring 2012 right now. What I would say is what I can expect and see is that intimacy between brands and people and businesses and people will be the gold of the future. So whatever tool you use to underscore, elevate intimacy between brands and people and business and people will be welcome, and it will be the right tool to be used.